Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Expert Division in the 2nd anniversary tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go! Before we start here with my first shot, do not forget to look down in the video description. There you can find direct timestamps for all the holes in this playthrough. So if you don't want to watch, for an example, hole number 1 here, then you can go directly to hole number 5 or whatever. Also, check out patreon.com/golfclashtommy to get more into the action in terms of signing up for a training session with me, or you do get to have the updated text guides as well. So here, hole number 1 in Expert, and I remember myself saying that before the tournament started, that if we do get any form of tailwind, and that is also explained in the general text guides, then we're going to go straight forward. Important here that you play with a driver that gives you at least 5 bars of topspin. You can see I'm having an Apocalypse level 5 here, but it could do well with Extra Mile level 7, level 8, Thor's Hammer level 4, level 5 or more, and also of course a higher level of the Apocalypse. So the thing that we do want to do here is that we do want to add 10%. You can see as well that I'm stretching out my landing position so I can kind of visualize how much overpower I do need to have. You don't need to do that, but it is very important that you do over adjust your drive for 10% before you take your shot so you can reach over. I'm playing with a power 3 ball, which is a Titan, and I'm bouncing into the rough, gaining or going into the part on the fairway that is covered by the shadow, which is absolutely perfect. So 365 yards, that's a good mark to note down as for when we go for the second shot. The thing that we do need to have in mind with the drive as well is that, let's say you do feel uncomfortable with going with overpower, then it's very important that you do change and go with a power 4 or a power 5 ball so you can reach further than normally when with a straight shot. Our opponent is trying to go directly to the green, will not work as the Goliath doesn't have enough backspin. And the risk that you take there is that you do go into the rough, roll out, and have a wedge for the pin. Unnecessary, I would have to say. Okay, my turn, second shot. I'm going to have a wind that is going to be 9.9. You can see I'm going to be in minimum distance of my club. And the important part here for us to do is, we're going to be in between minimum and medium distance of our club here. And the thing that we're going to do is that we're going to adjust our shot for being in between minimum and medium distance with a 20% under adjustment. So it means that I'm playing this one uphill, and that is going to give myself around 2.8 rings, like 2.7, 2.8, and then we're going to take the shot. Important here that we do play with a thorn, and then we take a shot. Get in the hole! That is a lovely, lovely mark to go with. So again, in between minimum and medium distance, with a max backspin thorn and also an under adjustment of 20%. So, hole number 2. Here it's important with 3 things. Don't overuse the backspin, as I'm going to play with 2 bars of backspin, and it seems like I'm going to come in pretty long. You can see that on the ball guideline, but the headwind is going to compress the ball guideline big time. So it's going to be very important that we do get it right. The second bounce should be just past the pin and also on the left side, by having the blue ring just by the rough there to the right. And here I'm going to adjust this shot for being 9.8 rings. And the reason I'm playing 9.8 rings is that I'm playing this one as for being in maximum distance with my club with a 10% over adjustment. But instead of making it hard to me, I'm playing it like I'm taking the wind, I'm adding 1.2 in wind, and then I do take those rings and adjust. So basically I take 11 here, and I add 1.2, so I get 12.2 in wind, and then I adjust 1 on 1. So one ring for every mile per hour with the sniper there. Works really, really well. You can see we came in very close, and that's something that we're going to continue to tweak. Last piece of the puzzle there, go with a tiny bit of curl to the right so we can push our ball more to the right. Rather go that than moving your landing position more to the right, as the more to the right we get, the more inconsistent the bounce is going to get as well. So this was hole number 2, and we're going to go over to hole number 3, a par 5, which of course allows to go for, not of course, but which allow us to go for the pin with our second shot, like for the Albatross. But the problem we do have here is that we do need to play with another club than the Sniper. I don't like playing with the Sniper with this type of wind for the second shot, as it will most of the time make me go a bit short. Max side spin left, 1 bar backspin. You can see I'm having the yellow ring just by the rough on the left. Important here now that I stretch out my target so I can see the second bounce being on top of the bunker. Then I'm going to adjust my rings, and the rings I'm going to adjust for in its maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. And again, the reason I push up my target is to make sure that I'm having the second bounce over the bunker. Then you maybe wonder, why don't adjust your rings and then pull up your target to max distance? The reason for that is then I don't really have any clue on where my second ball is going to bounce, as it could be bouncing a lot further and also a lot shorter if so. And therefore we're going to stretch it out, and then we're going to pull back and adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. And you don't have to have an Apocalypse level 5, you can play this one with a standard extra mile or extra mile level 6 if you want to, 5, 6, 7, 8, or the Thor's Hammer level 4+. Also, last but not least, go with a tiny bit of curl to the left. You don't have to, as we do have the wind, but I would say go with a tiny bit of curl. I'm just meaning to touch the inner arrows that you do have inside the adjustment ring to the left. Our opponent is going to go with a little bit too much curl in my opinion. Also hit a great left, which is going to go way left. Gets into the rough, and that's unfortunate, as going into the rough will take away the opportunity to go for the green in 2. Now you can see here, even though we do have some tailwind, we do have to have a lot of distance to be able to play with without any topspin or overpower for that matter. So I'm going to try to play this shot without any spin whatsoever. I think that is best. It gives us the most control on this shot in my opinion. And here I'm going to play without, as you can see there, and then we're going to adjust our shot for maximum distance with no over adjustment, no under adjustment whatsoever. Go there, we hit it. Perfect! Get in the hole! You can see here we're getting a very weird bounce here, coming in pretty hot. Coming in a little bit too much to the left. Need to put on a little bit of backspin, but the problem with this hole is that sometimes you're going to come in hot, sometimes you're going to come in short, and sometimes you're going to be right at the pin. Important part though, max distance with no over adjustment or under adjustment. So our opponent, as you can see, have no clue about, but no opportunity to read for the green in 2 there, so that we need to stay away from. Okay, hole number 4. Sniper time. So the sniper here, and we're going to use an adjustment that is pretty familiar to many of you that are watching the channel, is that we're going to play 1-on-1, which means that we're going to play 1 ring for every mile per hour. So if we would be having 8.3 here in wind, as our opponent is having, then I would be playing 8.3 rings. And here it's important though to play with a club that gives you enough backspin. I'm going to play max backspin on my sniper here, and I understand that some of you that might not have max backspin on the sniper, which maybe having level 7, level 8, then I would say that you have to back up a little bit, because and then pay attention to the final part of the ball guideline that really show where we do want to be. Look at the landing position here. We do have the yellow ring half in the shadow, half on the bright part. Max backspin, and then we're going to go with no side spin. You can see I'm over adjusting it to the left with the ball guide already, and that is because the ball is going to be pushed to the right. And now I'm going to adjust 7.1 rings as 1-on-1 with the sniper. So we hit it there. We're coming in a little bit too hot, but straight at the pin. So if we could be backing up a little bit there, then we would be getting that one. If so, very, very close, if not in the hole. So, hole number 5. Here is only one way that I'm going to play this one, and that is going max overpower down the middle. Use the club that gives you the most distance on this account. It's Apocalypse level 6, and Apocalypse 6 should be up in Master really. So even if you have an Exomile level 6 plus, or a Thor's Hammer 5 plus, or Apocalypse 4 plus, then you play with max overpower. Here I'm going with a little bit more curl, as I do aim deliberately a little bit more to the right. As for the ball, could be rolling down from the rough to the left. If you hit the left side of the rough, the ball will 100% stay there. I'm playing with a power 5 ball as well, which is a Berserker ball, and make an over adjustment of 25% due to the very downhill approach. Second shot, we do need distance. It's very, very important, and the distance is going to be for both the ball, which we do have a power 5 ball already, and then we do have in that case a Cataclysm Pact as a second shot, but you would do well with a Big Dog as well. So Big Dog or the Cataclysm for the second shot. So our opponent goes into the bunker. That's unfortunate. And now we need to do it a little bit better for at least a second shot here. I'm going to go with max backspin here. And I would actually have to say that if you feel confident enough with your drive, you can actually play with a Guardian here. Because the Guardian with the max backspin approach is actually a pretty neat approach here. I do want you to under adjust your shot for 5%. As for playing it uphill, that is because the ball is going to be less affected by the wind here. But we really need to pay attention at the same time to the extended ball guideline due to the tailwind. So it's kind of even itself out. I'm having max backspin, no curl, using 2-3 bars of side spin to the left. Let's go! Bounce here, coming in a little bit too high, falls down and missing the pin just on the top there a little bit. But it gives myself an easy eagle. Do not pay attention to the level of the clubs, please. As you can play it with lower level clubs of those as well. Hole number 6 now. This is a time where we need to go for the green. And here, many players do feel that, okay, now I need to go for a hook shot to be able to reach. You don't. You need to play with Apocalypse. So, it doesn't matter if you do have an Apocalypse level 1 or higher level. Then you play with Apocalypse. The only difference is, if you do have an Apocalypse level 1, 2, 3, you play with a Berserker. And if you're playing in Expert, you're most likely going to have a couple of Berserker. And I believe that shot is going to be way easier than going for the hook shot. And that's why I'm not going to even show the hook shot. Hook shot with the Exomile and the Thor's Hammer is of course going to be slightly different than the Apocalypse. But again, if you just have the Apocalypse unlocked, which is highly likely when you're playing Expert, then you play with that one. In this case, I'm having an Apocalypse level 6 as well. Again, I'm playing with 3 bars of topspin, as much side spin to the left possible. And then I'm going to aim with my red ring by the rough there on the left. And then I'm going to adjust for max distance with a 10% over adjustment. And I just want to add as well for you that sure, you can play with a Kingmaker if you want to, but then you most likely have to go with overpower if you do have a lower level Apocalypse. Unfortunately, I hit it great to the left side, but great left side is going to be okay. Coming in very, very nicely here with the 3 bars of topspin. We're landing here on the fairway, and we cannot ask for more really. If we are disappointed about the drive like this, then we maybe should think again. Because again, from this angle here, this is a very short wedge, which we should be making every single time. And I will have to add, as I said in the beginning, very important here for hole number 6 that we do get an eagle. An eagle here is crucial and a must in my opinion, and that is going to leave us to getting a general minus 13 score. And sure, minus 13 will most likely not be enough and we need to get something extra. And that's something we will have to dial in with any of the par 3s or hole number 1, for example, which is a good way as well. So, take the wedge here. You can see here how short this one is, and it's not going to be affected much by the wind either. Use some topspin here on your club. Aim it up. You can see here how low ball guideline is. Slightly change it to the left here. Get in the hole. So that's nice. That's always nice to get eagle here. I actually got that shot to work. And if you do feel that you do have the hook shot locked in, then of course don't change if you don't want to. But I always try to find a guide to explain a way so we do not have to go with a trick shot. And as we can achieve the same type of wrestle as for going for the hook and the regular curl shot, then we go for the curl shot. Hole number 10. No! Hole number 8. 7. Oh my god, I can't get the numbers right. Hole number 7 it is. And this is the last par 3. Very tough par 3 to get in the hole. But I do have a reference that I work with, and which I'm going to explain here for you as well. First, we play with a ball that gives us max side spin. Side spin 3 ball, which is a Kingmaker in this case, because I also want to reduce the wind here if I can. Kingmaker, I'm now going to play with a sniper. Look at the landing position now. I'm going to play this one, max side spin, 1 bar backspin, red ring, just by the rough to the right. And then we're going to adjust for a 15% over adjustment here. So this is going to be approximately 8.1, 8.2 rings. With the sniper from medium distance, very important there as well. And then we need to go with some curl. So we're not done. Go with the ball basically just outside the adjustment ring to the right there. We hit it perfect. And now this ball is going to come in here very nicely. Bounce, second bounce on the fringe. And it slows down and roll. And we're getting it just to the right there. And this ball would be going in the hole if we could get straight to the pin. Very nice shot, and we'll take that every single day. Hole number 8. Here I'm going to show you 2 type of adjustment here. Not that it is, it's basically the same type of start as we're going to go with max overpower. It's basically just what you do prefer to do. As there is one way where you can go full blast down to the right and leave yourself with a long iron to the pin. Or there is one way where you can play it just before the 2 bunkers there on the center of the fairway. Bounce before, try to gain as much yards as possible and bounce it to a very close area to the green. Our opponent's going to try to do something in between here. A little bit unfortunate with that bounce though, but gets into the rough, will have no problem to reach for the green too. And again, that's kind of this whole what it is here. Sure, we could try to dial in the hook shot, and I believe that is going to be possible. I'm going to start with just taking a look here with the wind, and I'm not going to play with anything more than a Titan here. Sure, you can play with a ball with higher, like with lower wind resistance, like a Berserker Globe. But in the end, if you're going to play on the right side, like I'm going to do now, then you don't need more to go with than a Titan. You can see here I'm using some curl to the left, and I'm using some slight overpower, not much, around 20%. Hit it perfect. This ball is going to come in very, very nicely. Very important to put max top spin here. Oh, very close to the bunker there, honestly. And we roll down. And we're going to have an open shot towards the pin. And we either do that, and then we're going to have an open shot to the pin, which is going to be possible, or we're going to do another approach, which is going to come just in a little bit. A rough iron shot here, not going to be that easy to sink, but possible. So our approach shot here, and now I'm going to play this shot as for being an over adjustment. So we're going to have to over adjust it 10% here. And I'm going to be in medium distance of my club. And I'm playing with the Saturn. The reason I'm playing with the Saturn is to give myself enough backspin so I can bounce there before the pin, so I don't have to go with a rough bump or have to play more to the right. Using a little bit too much here, going to use a total of 6 bars of backspin. Aim straight at the pin, really. Red ring, just by the fringe there, as you can see as a reference. And then, of course, we need to hit our approach shot perfect. Otherwise, we are going to miss! So we hit it great, I'm going to miss right. Otherwise, it's a nice adjustment there. And with a perfect shot, we would most likely be... Yeah, we wouldn't be in maybe, but we would be very much closer. So, now it's time to do another approach. And this is the drive to take a look for. Now I'm going to aim for... with a power 4 ball with wind resistance 1. Which is going to be the blue marble here. And I'm going to aim for the ball to bounce before the 2 bunkers there in the middle. To get the ball to bounce in the uphill position. So I get like the ball to bounce over the trees. Max curl. You can see I'm hitting the spot that I wanted to. But I'm not having enough angle to the left, which means in my book here that we do need to make a hook shot if we're going to be able to make it to the second fairway pad and then bounce over to the green. So, and I think that's something that we really do need to have in mind when we play, because like in the end we can try to do this shot and we can go into the rough or we can go into the sand with no problem. But do we really want to have a rough iron shot or a sandwich instead of sandwich instead of playing with the long iron from, sure, a little bit longer distance, but where we do when we are going to hit perfect more of the times? And I haven't really decided yet. I will see what I have to do. Our opponent's going a different way and going into the rough here on the other side instead, coming in a little bit too much to right, and therefore like the reason I want to show here is like it's easy to pull out the globe or a berserker, try to do that shot, but in the end it's enough with a blue marble to get enough distance. And you can see here now when we make the rough iron shot, we do have a very nice line on the back of the green here. So if we are just hitting it perfect and of course are good with our adjustment, then this ball is supposedly to roll down into the hole. So adjusting it a little bit too little there, I can see that directly, and of course that combined with hitting this ball great, which will not get this ball in the hole. I will miss right, but you can see the trick, going back of the hill or like back of the green, let the ball fall back down for a potential eagle. This is a hole where I do believe with the wind here that we're going to get, that we're going to see some eagles. And because it's a short par 4 in really, and the tailwind helps us get pretty close. With the long iron, we are pretty confident as general as players. So hole number 9. Let's see if we can grab the albatross here. First and foremost, with this type of wind, we don't need to play with a power 4 ball. It's just important that we do play with a power 3 ball at least. Sure, if you do have a bunch of power 4 balls, then play with a power 4 ball to take away the need of going with more overpower. And sure, with an XMI level 5 or 6, you know, or Thor Salmon level 4, maybe a power 4 ball would be better. But you will be able to make it anyway. I play with a Titan to give myself some more wind. Max top, max side to the right. And then we're going to adjust this shot for being in max distance with a 20% over adjustment. I'm going to adjust this one for being 7.7 rings. Then in the end we pull or like push up our target into max distance. And then we go with full overpower. I hit this one perfect, which is nice. It's going to definitely help. But you can see how far I drive here, that even if I drive way shorter, I will have no problem to reach over reach over the beginning there of the rough and then have a nice one towards the pin. So our opponent here is going to have a Cataclysm and most likely try to go for the bounce after the rough, if I read it correctly. The thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to go for the rough bump. I like the rough bump from this position, as I feel that is the best way for us, or the best and most consistent way to try to get the ball in the hole. So get it to the back of the green, will fall back down, will have no chance whatsoever to reach to the pin area, but in the end, nice and safe eagle putt for our opponent. So, my turn. Again, I'm having the sniper here, and I'm going to play this one of being 10% under adjusted. 3 bars topspin. I'm going to aim straight for the pin. So I'm going to play this shot for being in medium distance with a 10% under adjustment. Very important to play with that under adjustment, as otherwise it's going to adjust too much. We do have 5, and then we have 8.2. And I hit it perfect. You can see coming in very nicely here. Hits the rough, roll out, get in the hole. Lovely to end up with an albatross here on hole number 9. And this was the playthrough for Expert Division. I hope you get to find some good knowledge here. If you do want to get the updated text guides, you can get them through patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Again, if you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and we'll be happy to help you out there. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the 2nd anniversary tournament!